Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is once again a Friday night in covidland. It is Friday, March 14th, 2025. Welcome back to Friday Night Open Lines. More importantly, welcome back to your Liberty Radio. It is once again your chance to be a part of your Liberty Radio. Let us know what is on your mind tonight, as I just announced to the live stream audience, but not to those of you tuning in for the replay, although I don't know why I have to tell folks on the replay this. But the link to get you into the stream for Open Lines is in the Liberty Radio Telegram channel, as well as the Liberty Radio Discord. It's in that one section. What's it called? The section is called Friday Night Open Lines. That's convenient. And the channel or room or whatever it is in Discord, I forget what they call them. It's called Call In Links. That's what gets you in here. As always, you do not have to turn on your camera if you have any reason that you don't want to do that. That's fine. We don't particularly care. This is radio after all. Nobody's tuning in because we're the most attractive on the interwebs. That's for sure. But you will need to turn on your microphone. Again, cannot stress that strongly enough, ladies and gentlemen. Without your microphone on, you're just being weird. That's basically how it goes. So the link is live. It is, again, it's your guys' forum. Whatever you want to talk about, I'm just here to steer the ship and make sure that we're entertained on our way to midnight on the East Coast. So get off your butts and get on your phones or computers or whatever it is that you access the interwebs through. However you find your way to us, go ahead and dial us up. Let us know what is on your mind tonight. We're here to listen. We are here to listen on Friday nights because, again, we know that life in covidland is crazier than what most folks had been used to in the before times. And sometimes you just got to vent. That's all right. We understand. That's what we're here for on Friday nights. So as we wait for our first caller to come on the line, I have been rather enamored of this young lady, Poppy, as of late. I don't know if you guys had noticed that or not. We've featured quite a bit of her content recently. Again, I was fumbling through the YouTubes earlier today. Just happened upon, I think, is it the latest episode? March 13th. So that would have been yesterday. I think this is the latest episode of Improbably Poppy. And, again, we got time as we're waiting on a caller. 13 minutes. I think we can, I think we got that in the budget, even if somebody does jump in before it's done. Improbably Poppy, episode 5, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all remember growing up, don't you?
Improbably Poppy.
Hi everyone, welcome to Improbably Poppy, a show where we'll learn, listen, live, laugh, love, and probably a few of us will die. Today's episode is all about growing up. And we have a birthday today, isn't that right, Jubilee?
Yay! Happy birthday!
Thanks, everyone.
Today, Jubilee turns 5. Can we all count to 5?
1, 2, 3, 4.
What's the matter, Mr. Skip?
Looks like Jubilee isn't the only one getting older. This morning, I took a look in the mirror and I noticed my hairline was receding.
Oh no!
Oh man, that fucking sucks!
Shut the fuck up, Zwink. Your hairline is perfect.
Zwink's right. And we all love you no matter how old and decrepit you look.
Decrepit, worn out or ruined because of age or neglect.
Now, I'm basically worthless. Do me a favor and just kill me.
Okay, I'll try anything once.
Wait a minute,
There we go. Mike's back on now. And,
There we go.
Yeah, we do. We have a caller on the line. That was the perfect cliffhanger, I think. So we're just gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it there, and I'll put the link in the replay notes for everybody. Never know. Everyone might bail at the bottom of the hour, and we can get back to it. It'll be good.
I thought my audio was busted for a minute. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I can't hear nothing. What's going on here?
No, they still haven't fixed that yet. And they haven't released an update since the last time that I updated the software from Streamlabs. So I don't know what's going on with it. I have not heard anything from them about it since my email to them back in like April or May of last year.
Sounds like a dying platform, to be honest. If they're not putting out regular updates.
Well, they put out, let's see, this one, I think something got broken in my previous build of the software, and I didn't get the notification for updates because I missed a couple. So I finally went and got it. I think it was in like November or something, and I think it'd been put out in like October or late September, something like that. But it was 3 versions beyond what I had been running.
That'll get you.
Yeah. But they still hadn't fixed the problem yet. I don't understand like why it's taking so long. Maybe I should send them another email. That might be something to do.
Why not? The world needs more fucking people complaining about shit.
There's not enough, you don't think?
I was at the dinner tonight and I saw somebody, an older woman with a haircut that made me think that she does a lot of complaining. And as it turned out, she was still there when I left. Like, came in afterwards, ate dinner, had a couple beers, and left. And her and her friends were still there. I think they were waiting for the manager.
Oh yeah,
would be my guess.
That could have been.
But I don't know. I guess I have a prejudice against women who have the back of their head shaved like a dude, or a dog's ass, as I like to say. They seem a little angry and militant, and like I said, my own prejudice.
Yeah. I don't know. There is something to. It's a very delicate line when you start judging people based on their appearance. Because there are some people that I agree with you 100%. You can absolutely do that with them. You can judge them based on their appearance, and probably 99% of the time you're gonna be right because they literally wear their entire identity on their body, right? But then there's people like me who do shit purposely to their appearance to throw you off.
I mean, this is my new test when I see people that look a certain way. Ask them if they accept Donald Trump as their Lord and Savior, and see their reaction from it. Because I think that says it all. As someone who knows it's all bullshit and fake.
That's probably a decent litmus.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that'll get a strong reaction one way or the other.
So what is on your mind tonight, Rob?
On my mind, I have something, I don't know if anybody else noticed, but, 2 weeks ago, Doge was in vogue, and all the waste from USAID was being spotlighted. And then all of a sudden, there's a CR in place that's going to fund all of the US aid and all the other waste that was thrown into our face as a big government fraud. And now, all of a sudden, the liberal media has started talking about people that they know are telling them who used to work at USAID that they're shredding documents and getting burn bags ready because somebody must have warned them that the reckoning is coming. So, like, what shifted in this fake left-right paradigm that all of a sudden the right wing is, fucking dancing on the USAID grave, and now the left wing now is leery of them.
Well, like USAID was always one of those political hand grenades, right? Because of what it was and what its real purpose was versus what its public-facing image was. It was always one of those things that you didn't really want to touch because of all of the strings that were attached to it. Which is one of the things that makes it a very interesting target, especially that it's being, made this public, like what was actually going on inside the organization.
That's my point. 2 weeks ago, the left wing was talking about the children that are starving and all this stuff that's happening because of the defunding of Trump and USAID. And now all of a sudden, they're bringing it to the left wing's attention that the organization supposedly is shredding documents and filling burn bags if the shredders are busy.
Yeah. Well, what I heard on that was that this was actually a practice that they do about this time every year. Is like a spring cleaning type of thing. It's like get rid of all the, all the non-essential stuff that you don't need to hold on to so that you have space for more stuff to hold on to. Because again, it's in those offices, you only have so much space to work with. So you, from time to time, you do have to go through and like clean shit out. I've known plenty of people that have worked for the federal government. It is not unusual for federal agencies to be doing this. It really isn't.
Well, I work in the private sector and data in particular, and they since it's digital, they never get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like 10, 15, 20-year-old data, they're still holding on to it because nobody knows whether somebody needs it or not. And that's in the private sector. So, go figure what they're doing in government, because data gets cheaper, storage of it gets cheaper, every year that it goes by.
Well, that's true. Although I thought they needed all the storage for the AI now. Like I thought we had to start limiting our cloud storage so that the AI could have it in order to get smarter and learn better.
It needs relatively little storage. What it needs is the bandwidth to go out and, consume information.
So it actually needs like transmission space is what it needs.
Yeah, it needs all the bandwidth that it can get.
So does that mean by streaming we're actually we're choking the AI just a little bit? Like just a tiny little choke, like a love choke?
I mean, considering that they don't update stuff for the backbone of the internet regularly, probably in some way. And then you get the people trying to suppress denial of service attacks on your servers and such.
Yeah, supposedly that happened to Elon and Twitter this week. I'm sure there were hundreds of content creators that were losing their minds.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a victim.
Oh, a big victim. Well, there's I saw a story earlier this morning. There's a Tesla dealership in Oregon that keeps getting like terrorists keep attacking it. They're like shooting the place up and throwing explosives at it. I guess it's like what Al Qaeda in America is attacking the Tesla dealership. Is that what's going on?
I mean, I don't know if it's part of the design or if it's like a miscalculation of putting that guy as the front man, the dude who is the CEO of 5 companies, has 13 kids, and is a prolific online gamer, and has time for all that stuff. Plus, government oversight is one of his, hobbies. I don't know anybody who's got that kind of time, but I've seen Peter Thiel, who's probably more fucking higher up in the organization than him, and that guy can't speak publicly. His uhs, and whatever fucking filler comments that you put in.
He's worse than I am.
Yeah. I think somebody did some analysis of his time on Rogan, and of like the 3 hours, he only actually said anything for an hour. Everything else was just filler shit.
Oh, wow. I want to know why he shaves his eyebrows.
I mean, who doesn't? Who wants to be that old guy who's got a big caterpillar and scaring the little children?
Well, no, I don't mean he trims his eyebrows. I mean he shaves his eyebrows like completely off. Like he looks like a cancer patient with hair. It's the most disturbing image. I can't explain it any better than that.
Well, maybe he's Anton LaVey's replacement, and he couldn't quite grow out the freaking eyebrows, and he needs to pencil them in, and that's what he does when he's not on camera.
Could be.
Gotta think of the positive, Driz. What's our friend Photophiliac feeling tonight?
I was just about to ask that myself.
How y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
It's kind of ironic. That a photophiliac would be on video, but go ahead.
Did I misspell it?
Phytophiliac.
No, I put it in right. No, I'm just winding down from a rather productive and exciting day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
What was so exciting about today? I was here in Jasper all day. I don't think I heard a single siren today, which was unusual.
Yeah. Well, I didn't set anything on literal fire, but I did set a fire. It's not literally on fire, but it's definitely figuratively on fire. So,
are you at liberty to share any of it with us?
Okay. Yes, because it's all over the place now, and there's fallout now. So, one of my hobbies here lately, the last several months, has been to ask questions. I've been asking an awful lot of questions of our city leadership. And not just the city council, but like the mayor specifically, and a couple of organizations, public organizations that do things in town. And that's kind of been my hobby. I've kind of been keeping tabs on them and asking questions publicly. And I have one of my goals, one of my aims was to maintain an air of professionalism and civility when I post my questions. So I'm not like, being accusatory. I'm just simply asking questions to gain information. And I've been particularly hard on the mayor. I will say that. I will admit I have asked numerous questions of the mayor. And, I used to interact with him through Facebook Messenger until he blocked me. And he decided that he didn't want to talk to me anymore. And I was like, that's okay. I'll ask my questions in the public forum then. And so I did. I started asking them. And there's a local news station that has a website that they have been happy to host my opinion articles asking questions. And my goal was to give him an opportunity to present a public statement to answer my questions or provide some clarity of the questions that I was asking. And so far, he's not taken me up on my um, request for information. He has chosen not to speak or address my questions. And that's his right. He doesn't have to answer my questions. I don't vote. I don't get to vote for him. And so I guess he feels like he doesn't owe me an explanation. And so my goal actually was multiple. Part of it was also to encourage other citizens to ask these questions of him, the ones who do have a vote.
Right.
And so I think some people have been asking the questions. I'm not sure. But a lot of people are, I'm getting a lot of feedback that people are excited that I'm asking these questions because nobody else is asking these questions. And so they're encouraging me to keep it up. So I've been keeping it up. And so I did post one series of questions about, okay, so it was about his reelection. He has actually decided to run for mayor again. The mayor election is in May of this year. And so I thought I would kind of get a jump on that. He had posted his public statement, his political statement, that he was running for mayor, and he was giving a list of reasons why he should be the mayor again. And I was reading through it, and I said, well, let's see how this compares to his original public political statement that he posted 2 years ago. So I went back and I started digging through it, and I had a lot of questions. One of them was something he had stated that he did a police ride along for. He said something about like fostering goodwill and communication, something like that along those lines, right, between the city hall and the police department. And I'm like, oh okay. How has that action, how has that thing that he did, how did that affect his decision making as mayor? I mean, did that have any impact on his decision making? Did it influence him in any way to make better decisions? And if so, what were they? I haven't got an answer for that one. Another thing he said was he was instrumental in lowering the water and sewer rates for the residents within the city limits.
When?
And that was a couple of years ago, actually. And I remember this actually being discussed in the news, the local news around town. And a lot of people were putting up a really big stink about it because people were thinking that they were overpaying for water and sewer. And the city had never, well, originally, before they lowered the rates, the city had not actually done a rate study in like 10 or 15 years. It had been like forever. And if you know anything about the economy, it's a lot different 15 years ago than it is today. And or even 5 years ago.
Well, and the value of the dollar is different.
Correct. Well, and it's gradually going down as we speak. And so
wells and stuff.
So one of the things that this was all during when he was a council member. He was, before he became mayor, he was a council member. And he pushed for the rates, the sewer and water rates, to be lowered because everybody was saying, well, we must be paying too much. We must be paying too much. They never did a rate study. They went ahead and lowered the rates for residents within the city limits. And then finally he got elected as mayor. That's what he campaigned on. I got your water and sewer rates lowered. Vote for me. So he got in as mayor, and we got new council members in. Replaced some rather problematic ones, which I'm very glad to say are no longer on the city council. But we have some new faces. We've had new faces for the last couple of years, and they all got together and they finally got it passed to where the city would hire a company to do sewer and water rate study to make sure that their rates are in line with, the surrounding areas and what everybody else is paying, in other places, just to make sure that nobody's being overcharged, nobody's being undercharged. What the rate study found was that the residents within the city limits are not being charged enough to cover the cost of providing the service. And the residents who are living outside of the city limits who receive city water and sewer, people like me, are being overcharged for water and sewer. Now, it's not a really big difference. It's I think the outside we were being charged like $7 or $8 more than what we should have been, and the inside city limits people were being charged I think $3 or $4 under what they needed to be charged. So it wasn't huge. And
Yeah,
granted,
I
and
would call those negligible amounts.
correct. And my water bill and sewer bill, they're not breaking my bank account. They're not. I mean, they're manageable. It's I'm not going into debt trying to pay these bills. However, it is the principle of the thing. You know, the city should not be overcharging or undercharging anybody. They should be keeping a close tab on cost of service and making sure that everybody's getting charged the correct amount. And this hadn't been done in like 15 years, and it's just now gotten done because there was also a group of people that were going to be taking this issue to the state because there was no rate study done, and they were actually pushing the state to implement some kind of punishment or something on the city if the city didn't do something about it. It's there's a whole group of them. They all got together and pooled their money.
They won't do what we want them to do. Send them to their room.
Yeah. So anyway, they got the rate study done. And do what?
Have you thought of moving someplace where you can have a well and septic tank where you don't have to put up with that bullshit?
Yeah, actually, I could. I think I could actually now because I do live in county. I actually probably could, but I know the going rate for a well setup for the tank and the motor and everything and all the whole setup. It's like $8,000 right now. Used to be about 5, but I think it's gone. It's probably about 8, maybe 10, between $8,000 and $10,000, depending on who you hire to do it.
That would pay for itself in just a few years.
I paid
It would.
like 20,000, or I'm sorry, I paid 10 like 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it is definitely a worthy investment. I'm not gonna poo-poo the idea of doing it, but it's a heavy cost, but it's a very big upfront cost, and over time it does end up paying for itself. It's just something that I
especially
don't
the
have.
younger you are.
Yeah, I don't have the means to make that arrangement at this point in time. Perhaps one day in the future I will.
Based off of what I know from people around me who pay for like city water and sewage, like my stuff paid for itself the first 5 years that I lived in my house. So
it's the same thing with like solar panels. They'll pay for themselves within about 5 years. But then my concern with solar panels is within about 5 years they'll have upgraded the capabilities of solar panels, and so now yours are going to be outdated and obsolete, and they have newer, more higher functioning solar panels, and so you're kind of going to be like in that cycle of constantly replacing, and you're never really seeing a true return on your investment. So I think solar panels are not quite the same, but that's along those lines.
I mean, that's how the scam is in my state. There's multiple companies that will provide free solar panels on your house or property, and they give you some fixed price with the electric company. And if you're in a good spot, generally for the 6 months out of the year, you generate more electricity than you use. And then there's like 6 months out of the year that you don't.
Right.
And they make a profit off of it. You're still paying like they try to figure out what your monthly electric bill is, and they'll try to give you like some incentive, like $20, $30, $40 a month.
Yeah. And I think some states do like some kind of like tax rebate or something if you do solar panels or something like that. But anyway,
if you're going to do that, you need batteries to store the excess.
Yep.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't
I've,
want
I've,
to
ca-
feed access into the grid and let them fucking
yeah.
get it for free.
I actually started doing a bit of a cost analysis on solar panels because we actually, where my house is located, it's actually in a really good spot for solar panels. Okay. All right. So it's in a really good spot for solar panels, and my roof is perfect for them. It's perfectly positioned, and so I actually started looking it up what I would need, and I actually wouldn't need that much. But it's the battery array is going to be probably the thing that costs the most, and is probably I think the last time I did it was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. I did the cost analysis of what was currently available, and it's going to be about I think it was going to be about $7,000 or $8,000 for a decent solar panel setup with a battery array,
Let me just give.
and that would be enough. That would be enough solar panels to actually return electricity to the grid, and
Let,
so that's having excess.
let me give you some solid advice. Don't let anybody put solar panels on your roof. They're going to destroy your roof, the integrity of it. Whoever uh, cut rate people they have installing those solar panels aren't going to seal it with silicone and make sure that there's not water leaking into your roof. So
Hmm. Well, I mean, there's the side of my house too, and I thought about this. I could actually hang them off the side of my house. Actually, the wall that I'm facing right now, that outside wall on the outside, I could actually put them right there, and it would be like hanging over like the off the side of the house, and it would still get the same amount of sunlight as it would if it was on the roof. So I actually have plenty of places to put it.
I mean,
It wouldn't have to be on the roof.
you're in Texas, get
Yeah,
sunshine
all
most of
day.
the
All the time.
So anyway, I did post that last um, list of questions for the mayor.
Hmm.
It was a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I think is when I did it. And it's been getting around. People have been reading it and hearing what I have to say. And I think they are actually, most people that read it are like, I don't see anything wrong with what you're saying. Because most people are like, yeah, you need to keep saying that stuff because that's what people need to hear. And so, anyway, I was going to go to the last city council meeting and I was going to read an excerpt of that particular uh, statement that I had made. And I was going to read it during the public comments section of the city council meeting.
Hmm.
But then I got to thinking, I was like, no, that's probably overkill. I mean, people know it's there. They know how to find it. They know how to read it. And I don't think it needs any more push from me. So I
Well,
decided to
but
leave it
that,
alone.
like when you take
does
part
need your
in the
foot.
public comment section, that goes on the public ledger, doesn't it?
It
Public
does.
record.
Yeah.
It does. So
That's
I,
that's the important part right there.
Get up
It's not
there.
whether or
yeah.
not people know where to go and find it. It's making sure that it's part of the public record.
Right.
Rehearse it, make sure it's 100% accurate, and get up there and do it
Well,
with
the things that I'm saying and asking, they're not inaccurate. Um,
that.
but
It doesn't
there's
matter.
definitely and there's definitely room for clarification from the person I'm directing the question to. I mean, there's plenty of room.
There's going to be
So
a PO or a stenographer keeping track of those
so
meetings.
so I skipped the last meeting, and they actually had quite a bit to do at the last city council meeting. There was quite a bit going on. They discussed the rate study, and they voted on changing the water and sewer rates, so now it's more even, so where everybody's paying paying what they're supposed to be paying. So they fixed it. So
Oh, did they?
Oh
well,
yeah, I'm sure they
I
did.
you
object.
know. Anyway, so I was at work earlier this week, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I was intentionally vague about it when I posted on online because I didn't want because it doesn't it's not specifically important to my report, but what I do for a living. I was saying he came to my place of work, so I
Hmm.
work in a doctor's office, and he came to my place of work, and he spoke to my boss and said that he was concerned that I had access to his private information.
Okay, so what we might as well go ahead and clarify this for the audience. So, did the mayor know who you were? Like, could he pick you out of a lineup of employees at the doctor's office?
Well, that is the interesting thing, because I saw him when he came up to the office that day. I was standing right there in the hallway. I know for a fact that he saw me standing there. And I saw him. We didn't make eye contact, but it was impossible for him to not see me where I was standing. It was right there. And he didn't say a word to me. And I thought it was because he didn't want to talk to me. I thought he recognized me and he just didn't want to say anything. I was minding my business. He was minding his. We just let bygones be bygones. And then he tells my boss that he's concerned that I have access to his private information. Come to find out, he doesn't even know what I look like. He doesn't know me from Adam on the street. So if I were to walk up to him and I were to say, "Hello, Mayor," he would be like, "Oh, how are you?" And then I would introduce myself, and his whole, I'm going to, because I have an opportunity to see him tomorrow if I want to. And because they're having the festival tomorrow and he's going to be out there.
Wait, hold up. Wait, what festival?
Yeah.
What festival?
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I forgot to tell you. It's going to be at the park, the street over from your house.
Right. What festival? Did they do this
The
last
Azalea.
year? I don't remember
They
this.
do it every year, every
St.
March. It's
Patrick's?
the Azalea Festival. They didn't actually have a very big turnout last year. It actually wasn't all that big, so you may not have even noticed it.
Right.
But I think they're expecting a big crowd this year. But it's going to be at the new side. You're actually on the opposite side, so it's going to be on the other
so
side.
it's over closer
It's going to be on
to
the other
pond.
end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, over by the.
That's
yeah,
fine.
it's going to be on the far end, so
That's fine.
you shouldn't hear too much noise, and it's just going to be from like 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh,
But
no.
But
That's
he's going to
not
be
a
out there with
problem.
his bells. He's going to be out there with his bells and whistles on, and
Oh, I'm sure
strutting
he
his
is.
stuff.
Well,
little
it's the
peacock.
mayor. He's got to show up and
Yeah,
show out.
he's got to be
you
out
know?
there,
Yeah.
and he's going to be dressed to the nines, I'm sure. But no, he didn't recognize me when he came up to the office to voice his concern, and I just thought that was funny because it's like I was standing right there and you didn't even see me, and so he told my boss that he was concerned because I had access to his medical records, and my boss told him, well, a lot of people have access to your private information, and that doesn't mean anybody's doing anything with it. And so he continued to push that he was concerned that I would access his records. And he said, well, she works for me, and if I need her to look in there, she's going to look in there. And he said, well, I don't want her looking in there. And so they actually,
I don't want her
the
looking
system,
at my records.
I don't want her. She's looking at me. Make her stop.
Yeah, pretty much.
Make her stop looking at me.
I mean,
So,
at least you have to, as part of your job, it's illegal, to be honest.
right. So
Exactly.
actually, no. If
Oh,
if
yes.
a nurse, well, hold up. If a nurse
If you're
or a patient,
unless
so, like-
you're involved in the care of that patient, or you're checking that patient in as a patient representative, then no, you don't have any permission to look at their
Right.
records. Believe me,
Right.
I've worked
Correct.
in.
That's
I've worked
absolutely
in the
correct.
medical field.
Right, but in the course of giving care or the administration of caregiving, she would then have a right to access the records for whatever
Correct.
reason she needed
Absolutely.
to access them for.
according
Because again, it's
according
all
to-
about the procedures and the protocols,
Right.
which the mayor is apparently completely oblivious of.
Yeah, he doesn't have any idea how any of this works.
Right.
And to be completely honest, a lot of people don't. And that's okay. But the thing is, according to HIPAA, the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, I think it was 96 when they passed it, and it was all because of Bill Clinton. They passed this
I thought
law
it was
that
later than
said,
that. I'll look it up.
oh no, it was Bill Clinton because he
search
was
it
in the
up.
hospital. He was in the hospital,
Well-
and one of the
let's
nurses
say you're not allowed
started
to
talking
talk-
about how him being in the hospital, and
Let's
he
just
didn't
say
like that. So
if you're a part of his care team or anywhere in the line, you're not allowed to talk.
Holy shit, you were right. 1996. Score yourself
Mm-hmm.
a bonus point.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember that shit because that was and I was a kid when that happened. I remember when that happened when as a kid, and then when I went through nursing school, we learned even more about it. But it was because of Bill Clinton, and somebody had violated his medical information. One of the nurses, one of the staff, had talked to the media about
Good for
him
her.
and told everybody what was going on with him, why he was in the hospital, and all this stuff. And it's like, well, that's a violation of my privacy. And so
It
that's
is.
that's
Yeah.
and it's funny, they can get
It is.
stuff happen when they can make stuff happen when it affects them, but if it affects everybody else and it doesn't affect them, they don't really give a shit.
Meanwhile, the CDC is calling my phone, demanding to know if I'm vaccinated.
Are you?
So,
They want to know.
so,
Fuck no.
so anyway, no, according to HIPAA, I am allowed to look in a patient's chart for the express purposes of finding specific information. I'm not allowed to just go digging willy-nilly. I have to be able to, I have to know what I'm looking for, and I'm able to look in the chart for that specific information, and I have to go to that section.
It's got to be part of your job function.
Yes, but I can't just go looking and digging and finding just to see what I can see.
It's plain and
directly
simple.
relating to patient care.
For the layman, it's if you are not part of that patient's care, you do not have the right to look into their file, or you're violating HIPAA.
Right. So even if I am an employee, that I have access to the entirety of the patient records at our clinic. A patient comes in to see a different provider. I'm working with another provider, and if the other patient seeing the other provider is there, I actually don't have the right to go look in that chart. That's a violation too. So I mean, it's very specific about what I am allowed to look at, and so I've been doing this for 17 years. Okay, so this is not my first rodeo. I know about privacy and privacy protection. With every employer I have worked with in this capacity, I have signed non-disclosure agreements, privacy statements, legally binding contracts that prevent me from
I don't know.
exposing and divulging patient information. So I can talk about medical conditions that affect people. I cannot talk about medical conditions that affect specific people. So anyway, I'm very well aware of the implications and repercussions of violating privacy information. I've been doing this for 17 years. And so he came up there and said his concern was that I had access to his information because I was speaking publicly about him, not because he had any evidence to suggest that I had violated his privacy, which is a completely different situation. We wouldn't be having this problem if I had actually violated his privacy.
Well,
I did not. He has no evidence to support that. And so his concern was because that I was publicly talking about him, and nothing that I have written
I mean,
said.
I hate to be the one to tell you, but the fact that you mention his name specifically is a violation of HIPAA. Listen, I've been in IT for like 20 years, or I'm sorry, 27 years, but about 20 of it in healthcare IT, and I have to take every year a HIPAA test and certify every year.
Actually, I don't know, because he's a public figure.
Doesn't matter if he's a public figure. That doesn't make it right. Just mentioning a name of a patient of any healthcare institution is a violation of HIPAA. You can't name, their name.
She didn't
age,
even. But she didn't even name the healthcare institution. She just said, "I work at a doctor's office." The mayor.
No, I didn't. I sure did not.
This person.
I said.
Doesn't matter.
Was a patient there.
I can't say
in my statements.
I can't say Driscoll is a patient at my healthcare institute. That's a violation of HIPAA.
In my statements, I have said he came to my place of employment and claimed that he had a concern that I violated private information. That was my statement. I didn't specify where I worked, who I worked for. Nothing in my public statements.
The fact that you're naming them as a patient is a violation of HIPAA. Sorry. I've taken the training for like 20 years.
So anyway, he was trying to get me fired for divulging his private information, um, and I say that because the or get me in trouble, either get me in trouble or get me fired, and I say that because the penalty for violating private information is being fired, losing your license, or losing your job. And if it's bad enough, it's um, it's punishable by jail time if it's bad enough. And I think there is a bit of a gray area there. I don't think that I have violated um, his privacy. He came up there and did it. You know,
You
he
said
he outed himself.
you said he was
He outed himself.
you
He
said
outed himself.
I agree.
Well, keep in mind, all right, I think we do need to put a little bit of preface on this, especially if folks are like tuning in tonight and they don't know the whole story, because I think we did talk about some of this on a previous Friday night open lines. But this is not the first incidence of the mayor trying to exercise some leverage over phytophiliac. Previously, there had been a campaign on social media executed through sock puppet accounts. The mayor was one of the responsible parties for that campaign, it turned out.
can't mention
And here's
I
the thing.
fucking predicted
can't
it.
mention their name as a
And
page
I'm taking
anywhere.
another victory lap on that.
Well, and in that case, I actually called out the individual. It wasn't the mayor himself, but one of his buddies, one of his very close buddies. And I know they were in cahoots about it. Um, and I had it from a very reliable source that he was part of um, the group of individuals. Is there was they said there was three.
Mhm.
I'm disinclined to believe that. I think it was just two, but I
You
called out one of them. I
You
called
can
out
still
his
do a
buddy.
lot with two people.
I called out his buddy and said, "This person is behind this social media account that is trying to discredit me, and they will not actually argue my points on merit. They can only attack me personally. They cannot actually debate me because they have nothing to stand on. They have nothing to back it up with." And so when I called that person out, this person also went on their personal page and said, "Well, this is not me. I don't care what anybody says. Don't listen to their lies. It's not me." However, that anonymous social media page has gone pretty much silent since then. They
What was
haven't
your,
said a word.
what was
Huh?
your accusation?
I wasn't making accusations. I was asking questions of the mayor and of the Economic Development Corporation as to the shady dealings that they've been engaging in, which the mayor is part
Did,
of,
did you think
by
they
the
were
way.
Did you think they were going to answer?
The mayor is no, but I'm getting the questions out there for other people to ask and for other people to think about. And it's like, no, I wasn't actually expecting an answer. But the people who have been trying to attack me and discredit me can't actually argue the points that I'm trying to make about these organizations, how they're shady and they're ripping people off and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing because it's just this buddy buddy system where you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, and I'll get you benefits if you just help me out here. It's the reason why they increased our economic development board from 5 people to 17 because they couldn't get people enough people to agree on what they wanted to do. So they had to hire their little buddies and their little friends in on this board of directors so they could get things passed like they want. And
It's
they keep
old
patting
boy
themselves
network
on the back.
bullshit.
It is. It's good old boy network, and they want to pat themselves on the back. We've brought commerce and businesses to this town, and we've done a good job. Great, wonderful. What have you done in the last 6 years?
You sound very
brought
very
this-
angry, Phytophiliac. I want to hear
brought this-
what RBL has to say for a minute.
They brought this company in. It's a call center, and they handle like customer service for different companies, a whole like big companies, and they handle customer service calls and things like that. And they did this back in 2019, and they're like, "We did it. We got this thing." They got a big giant tax break for 10 years. They got a big $2 million building that the city ended up paying the majority of it. And the city was paying for
They
their
got a sweet
housekeeping.
deal. They got
The
a really
city was
sweet
paying.
deal.
The city was paying for their housekeeping, $5,000 a month, and yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yo,
And
this
so,
shit sounds like more fucking
so,
bitching at the fucking town hall of Jasper,
so
Texas.
all of these people that are part of this economic
Hey, we
development
cover
corporation
local
and their
news
friends,
too.
all of their
Why
friends,
shouldn't we?
all of their friends are like, yeah, this organization is great. They're wonderful. Don't let anybody let you
Listen, you're wasting your energy. Go fucking talk to
don't
the
let them
residents.
tell you this
Put them on
company,
your
this
side.
organization is bad. And it's like, okay, you brought this company here 6 years ago. What have you done since then? And you know what? Here's the thing. This Economic Development Corporation, they have been operating illegally even when they brought in this company, because their bylaws
Create a
state,
competing company and
listen,
hire all those people and give them $1 more an hour, and they'll
well,
leave.
their bylaws,
Whatever yours
the Economic Development Corporation's bylaws state that each of the board members, each of the freaking 17 board members, has to be reappointed every 2 years in staggered terms. They haven't done that since probably 2017. And
Wow.
3 people on that board
Hey,
are
they're
legitimate.
begging. They're just
I hate to
begging to be
interrupt you,
sued. Is what
but
it is.
Do you see the hat that RBL is wearing? That guy
I
needs
love
to
that hat.
speak. He needs to speak. Let him speak.
All right, I'm gonna speak. I got the speaking hat on. I used to be a bartender for about 8 years, and Rob, I'm about to cut you off. Fido, please continue.
So anyway, I the mayor came up there to get me in trouble, and so my boss did not fall for it. My boss saw right through it, and and he told me what happened, and so I mentioned this incident to a city council member, and she said, he has done this to so many people. And I'm like, why hasn't anybody said anything? You know, he's been doing this since he was a council member. He's been bullying people and intimidating people to make them shut up and sit down. And she said, you probably need to file a lawsuit. And I said, well, I really don't want to get the courts involved in this. I really don't. I'm not seeking monetary compensation. I want him out of the mayor position because he clearly doesn't have the temperament or the personality to be a good mayor. Even though the mayor doesn't really do anything, the mayor is the face of the town. He is a figurehead. He kisses babies. He does ribbon cuttings. That's pretty much the extent of his authority. And he also leads the city council meetings. That's it. That's all he does. He doesn't really have any power. He thinks he does, and it's mostly been a popularity contest for pretty much the entire time we've ever had a mayor. And so I talked to her about it, and then I was like, I don't want to do. For one, I can't afford a lawsuit. I can't afford to pay for it. Two, I may have trouble finding someone to take the case, and I would have to go outside of town. I would have to
Because of
go
the Old Boys Network.
Yeah, because I can't trust any of the lawyers around here to be able to take this case, and a few other reasons as well. And so I would settle for him not being able to run for re-election because this man has bullied so many people in town, and just because they don't agree with him or they don't support him or they don't or they ask questions of him. And so, excuse me, I'm sorry. I filed a formal complaint with the city hall today, and I typed up a nice long letter and I emailed it to the HR person at City Hall, and then I printed a copy of it and took it up there. And they're not going to be able to do anything, but it is on the record that he spoke to my boss about me and my public speaking.
All right, Karen. All right, Karen.
In order to get me in trouble. And so then I posted a rather lengthy opinion piece to our local news outlet, and I posted it on social media as well. And I've gotten quite a few responses. A lot of people are rather upset that he chose to do this to me and they're like, I'm so sorry that you're having to go through this. I was like, you know what? The only reason I didn't bring a lawsuit is because I didn't get fired. And so I'm okay with the city not being able to do anything, but I've just wanted it on the record that this is what he does. This is the kind of person that he is. And I think it is in wholly and entirely preposterous that he's so full of himself that he thinks that I'm going to ruin my 17-year career that I have worked hard to get and maintain, and I'm going to ruin it for someone like him.
But see, that's the thing. When it comes to somebody who has narcissistic tendencies, they're only thinking of the lengths that they would go to, right?
Absolutely.
They're not considering that somebody else, because again, the most people who think very highly of themselves also think that much less of everybody else in the world. Absolutely. Because they put themselves up on that pedestal. So they would expect that other people are going to stoop to much lower measures than even what they think, as capable of themselves.
Right. And my thing is, my thought process is, this narcissistic tendency this trait that he has, because I can't diagnose him as narcissistic, but he has the traits for sure. And the fact that he thought that his first thought was, this is what I would do, tells me that this is what he would do if he were in my position. He would be using other people's private information against them. He would be wielding it as a weapon. Yeah. And that just shows his thinking.
Most people don't understand that, but when you start out just like attacking people, it's typically an admission. Yeah.
And the other thing too is, I've been doing this for 17 years. You don't get to be in my position at 17 years and you violate people's private information. You don't. You do not. You end up with a target on your back, a name for yourself that you are untrustworthy and you cannot. You
can't even fucking clean a hospital if you do that.
No, absolutely not. We actually had
the fact that you told us that you treated the guy as a violation of HIPAA. Sorry,
I didn't treat him. I never said that. That is not what I said. I never said that.
I'm here if you need a lawyer.
Your boss was worried he was looking at your medical records.
That doesn't mean that I treated him or took care of him.
If he was a patient at the place that you worked at, and you mentioned that he's a patient at the place you worked at,
I said we have plenty of people.
Regardless if you work on it or not, it's a violation.
I don't.
It is. I'm just saying.
I don't think that it is.
Whatever.
I don't think that it is. I really don't.
Then maybe you're not a nurse, because I have to take that training as an IT.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, I'm making it up. I'm making up a 17-year career. That makes sense.
I mean, that's the training I have to take.
That's a preposterous statement right there.
That's the training I have to take every single fucking year as an IT person. I'm not even a nurse.
I'm telling you something.
And
you're not allowed
to mention the name, your age, fucking address. I'm just saying. That's the way it is.
I'm trying to tell you something. People can call up to the office and ask, "Hey, can I get so and so's medication refilled, or can I schedule them an appointment?" And we will no, you have to contact that person.
That's exactly same thing.
So, I mean, you're still letting them know, yes, this person is a patient here. That's not a violation. You're not disclosing medical information.
It goes to this point. If I said, I called your fucking doctor and I said, does Photophiliac have an appointment at 9:00 today? And I said, yes. I violated HIPAA because I'm not allowed to call and ask about anybody else's medical records. I'm not allowed to disclose that anybody is a patient.
Actually, I have a question. I have a question.
Answer would be,
you're not allowed.
The answer would
I
be,
have a question for you, Rob.
Sure.
And I'll cut mics in order to get my question out if I have to. Because again, it seems like we're devolving into a little bit of a pissing match here. Why is it so important for you to be right on this?
I'm just saying that's the fact it's facts because I have to take this stupid training every fucking year. For the last 10 years of my career, I've worked in a medical field, and before that, I
Okay.
worked in.
Well, are you planning to bring suit against her for the violation?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's the fact of it. You can't mention somebody's name if you work in a place that you provide medical care for that person. And the fact that she mentioned it and her boss was concerned about it, that's a violation of HIPAA. And you can look it up, and you don't have to take my word for it.
Okay.
That's like a fact. So
All right.
that's all.
Well,
That's all I'm saying. I don't care.
We will do
I don't
exactly
care.
that because that's what we do. We will look it up, and I think now it's time for us to move on.
We can move on. I'm just telling you what I know.
Okay.
That's what it says.
I'm not
think the
challenging your knowledge at all. I'm trying to understand like why you're clutching onto it so tightly.
Because the truth. Just because it's the truth. Because that's how I am. I'm sorry. It's what I'm. Unfortunately, as a IT guy in the medical field, I have to know that stuff, and I know every single year of my career, I have to take that test. And if I don't answer those questions, like, the questions they ask us are basically like, if Janet Jackson comes into your hospital for treatment, are you allowed to tell anybody that Janet Jackson came into your hospital? No, it's a violation of HIPAA.
What if Janet Jackson comes into your hospital trying to get you fucking fired from your job of 17 years?
If
you didn't like her album,
if you mention her name publicly, then yeah, you're violating her HIPAA rights. That's the way it is.
To me, when he lodges a complaint with her boss, that's a different thing. That's like him. He's going on record like with this complaint now, and he is a public figure, right?
Correct.
She didn't even say where she works.
She didn't say where she works, but she's saying his name. It doesn't matter.
There is a different set of rules, even legally, even when it comes to things like HIPAA for public figures. And again, I know that to be true for a fact. I'm not going to waste people's time arguing about it. Y'all can go look it up. Public figures fall into a different category, especially when it comes to things like expectation of privacy.
I'm no stranger that public figures are scumbags and they do scumbag.
I'm not talking about what they do and what their character is. I'm talking about how they are regarded legally.
It's the reason we can talk about Michael J. Fox's Parkinson's or whatever all fucking day without getting sued.
Right. And it's the reason you can say pretty much anything you want to about a politician up to the point that you threaten their life and get away with it. They can't sue you because they are a public figure.
Up until you're part of their primary medical care. I can talk about anybody who's not part of my hospital system all day and speculate and do this and that. But anybody who comes into my hospital system, if I, just speculate or take inside information and make it public, then I'm violating their rights.
Right. But again, the point that was being made here is there was no violation of rights. He was not there seeking treatment. She had not accessed his file. This was something that he had cooked up in his mind, went into the office and decided to lay in the lap of the establishment owner.
That's fine. It only became a problem if he got medical care there. If he didn't get medical care
then
there,
it's not a HIPAA violation. So what the fuck are we arguing about?
I mean, I was just saying in general, if he was a patient there, if he wasn't a patient there, then it's irrelevant. You're right. then we're arguing about nothing.
Because he's right. Sorry, I was screaming at myself over here.
I think you were right, RBL.
I love you guys. I think Fido, the big story here isn't that she's violating HIPAA. It's that this dude's violating his fucking the trust of the public that elected him.
My point was, if he was a patient, it's a violation. If he was never a patient and he was making
Patients in violation.
He's making a big stink
Nice theme.
of it before he became a patient, then it's not a violation.
You know what the funniest part of all this is? Mercury went retrograde today.
I missed the moon, the blood moon. I used to love those.
All right, let's change the subject.
I went to sleep early.
I was, I think I was broadcasting during it. Maybe, I don't know. What time did it happen? Even
I don't know. My friend Kristen stayed up last night to watch it.
Oh, if it was late,
outside.
I was probably
she was
asleep.
going to get pics.
Did she get pics?
She said she was going to send me pics. I don't know. I didn't check recently.
Jeez.
Fido's gone. She's gone.
No, she's there. Sorry.
Your cam's frozen, and so I haven't heard you. So I just was like, where'd she go? I'm going to refresh.
All right.
Wow.
He'll pop back in. He always does.
She's saying I was arguing a moot point this whole time.
Yeah.
The guy wasn't a patient of the practice. He was just.
He was not there seeking medical care, and she had not been in his file.
Okay.
He was there to complain. He was there to try and get her in trouble. He was not in the building as a patient.
Then my apologies. I misunderstood.
Because of his Machiavellian, narcissistic fucking.
That's what happens when you talk over people. I'm just saying.
Instincts.
All right,
he
settle down.
Tried to destroy her life rather than have a minor obstacle in his life be presented. Like finding out he's got a fucking herpes or whatever. Like he's a longtime Valtrex subscriber or whatever. His wife doesn't know. That some medical doctor might know that, that's probably what somebody that's already criticizing him and knows he's crooked.
I think what it really speaks
What's
to
he really
is the current average mental state in the United States.
Yeah, it's absolutely juvenile. Yeah. That's it. I'm telling mom. I'm telling big brother. I'm telling daddy government. We're going to SWAT team you because of your beliefs now.
Yeah. Nobody outside of I don't know, what are we, like 10% of the population that are actually capable of governing ourselves and want to do it and want the rest of them to leave us the fuck alone? Like, I don't think our numbers are very large at all, because it seems like everybody else wants to have somebody that they can go to tell everybody else what to do.
No. We're coming out of the illusion of thinking our numbers are large. I had a wake-up call. I was on a Twitter live stream.
That's a real good fucking measure. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to flinch on the next one, though. Hey, so I was on this Twitter call, and this conservative Christian call, and I'm like, whatever, I'll listen to them. They're going to talk some stuff and pray, and it's going to be cool, whatever. I'm just smoking weed, drinking coffee, want to hear blabbing. I'm not there to talk. I'm listening. This really, really based, informed guy comes on. He's very respectful. He mentions that he has firsthand knowledge of the security system that Israel has all over their fucking wall, and that you can't sneak across there and launch a surprise attack and all this stuff. Just very calmly. And the lady running it, who I unfollowed since then, spunky conservative patriot, she's like,
great handle.
She's like, hold on, it's okay, it's time for the music. And
Lord.
She cuts his mic, removes him from the room, and plays this old, and God is the Bible in the temple at the mountain, or whatever song for 2 minutes, and then they come back in and they're talking about something completely different. And they've censored this guy, cut his mic, and kicked him out of their group for telling the truth.
What the hell kind of show is
they're supposed to be
this?
like Christians. They're like these Trump MAGA Zionists on Twitter, man, that just don't want to hear anything at all
that's
about the
man.
government of their holy chosen. And it wasn't even like offensive. What this guy said was true facts.
Well, they've gotten all the
respectful
echo
manner.
chambers erected.
Yeah,
right?
That's what it is. It's the temple of the echo there. And they kicked this dude out. So I'm like, oh, I left. And then I unfollowed this lady. And it's been like stuck in my, like, what the fuck?
It's
like,
I guarantee it's happening with all of the communities, all of the ideologically based communities. That's happening right now. You're seeing a second basically separation where they're starting to kick out all of the people who won't adhere to all of the cult's policies.
And coupled with that, the first time liberals have been right in 10 years, it's about Palestine. It's like, oh, fuck. Oh, I'm down with them now. I guess.
No, you don't have to be down with anybody. That's the whole
but
fucking
you know what
point.
I mean? You know what I mean when you're on the internet arguing at the void.
If you're not down with the murder of women and children, RBL, then I don't know where you're at in this fucking conversation.
Hey, you're talking a private puller of the United States Marine Corps.
Oh, nice.
See that? Private. Wait, it's dyslexic. Private puller. All right.
What is that, field jacket?
This is, I don't know, just the whole fucking suit, bro.
Desert camo.
It was $15, and this dude was a gunny. He was a gunnery sergeant, according to Satyagraha, who looked at this.
Wow.
And he's like
stolen valor.
Yeah. Well, I'm private puller, so I might have stolen the valor, but I earned those loads, And
you're goddamn right, you did.
I got promoted. Now I'm gunnery sergeant puller, Peter Puller.
Nice. So can we start
I had to
calling
put a
you
first
Gunny
name
Bin
on it.
Laden then?
Peter Puller.
I like private puller better, to be honest. I'm about staying true to myself, being humble.
All right.
Wow. I'm gonna see him in a stolen valor video somewhere out in West Virginia.
I'm looking for a Navy suit now.
At a
somewhere there was a semen drinker.
I'm thinking
guzzler.
Like the dress blues or like just a regular everyday fatigues.
I just need it with the name tag, like
even
like semen shooter, semen whatever. Sorry, I don't mean to make fun of
the cardboard.
No, I'm fatiguing people in the audience.
I'm offended as a Navy veteran, for goddamn sure. I mean, they threw me out and they fucking stole my uniforms back from me, so I didn't get to keep them. So I feel like, yeah, you really still.
I got fired from an electric company and they wanted my T-shirt back.
Yeah, it's a fucking tough world out there, RBL. You're right.
It is.
I caught the super drinking and he caught me smoking weed, so we were all like in a dance, and I had to go. I had to go, man.
Yeah, give me your shirt off your back, motherfucker. You're not whatever company material anymore.
We all got instead of a raise, we all got 2 shirts that said Veltri Electric, and I was like, he doesn't give 2 shits about us, but he gave us 2 shirts or something like stupid like that. I remember, and then they wanted the shirts back.
Wow. Did you have both of them back, or just the one you were wearing?
I think I didn't give them any of them back. Them shits were warm. They were super warm.
I mean, to be fair, they probably charged you like $50 a shirt on your last paycheck.
If I work at a fucking Wendy's for 3 minutes, I'm keeping the shirt. That's why I was there in the first place.
Oh, no, you're not.
What, for the shirt?
Oh, no, you're not.
When I was a kid, especially, I had this collection of fast food shirts, a Boy Scout uniform, mechanic shirt, stuff like that. UPS.
So I didn't get a chance to talk with Yona about this last night. Y'all hear about Rockfin? Just dropping creators.
I've heard they've dropped everybody who's not putting premium content out, except the people who are their highest viewer, I guess, counts.
No, yeah.
think their servers are getting swamped with so much content?
No.
I dropped my premium subscription probably about 6 months ago when they stopped paying out creators back in August.
That's probably the I would think the main thing that's going on is they're trying to trim off the who they think is not bringing in the premium. Because I would imagine they did lose a bit of funding when people canceled subscriptions. Got to cut the fat somewhere, right?
I mean, if you saw the X exchanges between Steve from Slow News Day and Wake Up and the independent media guy, like going back and forth, they're basically telling those people, yeah, just we'll help you transition off our platform. They weren't encouraging them to invest more time and help them get more views. Basically, like freedom of speech was a touchy thing back in the day. Now all these other platforms are allowing you to speak about these things. So maybe you're better off over there.
Wow. And Steve wasn't able to take a hint or what?
I mean,
that's a pretty damn clear message as far as I'm concerned. I'd have been like, all right, I guess I don't need you either. See ya.
I mean, all the platforms are pretty much regulated to a certain degree. So go anywhere else. And,
here's the other thing too, which is the thing that I always find ludicrous in the arguments that I hear from these people. Apparently, none of them are reading the end user license agreement at all, because when they create their account, they give up the right to their content when they post it on the platform. Once you post it on YouTube or Rumble or Rockfin or Twitter or wherever the hell it is, you don't own it anymore. The platform owns it. It's not your content anymore. So the platform can decide to do whatever the fuck the platform decides to do.
That's 100% right until you create your own platform, and good luck with that.
I have. Nobody wants to use it.
Well, that's the thing. They've got people programmed into the conglomerates, and you got to get your content here. Most independent creators have their own website, and you can get everything that they ever produce on that website, download it for free, and support them if you want to. But that's not really the model that's working for most people.
No. No,
I mean,
because again, they set up the model in such a way in order to lure people in order to generate the greatest amount of data so that they could then feed the data into the AI and get that whole side of the machine going. And now that they've got that good and cranked up, they're like, all right, we need to start cutting the fat here. Oh, and by the way, we can also take away the voices of some of these people that we think are inconvenient at the same time. That's multiple birds with one stone. That's a win-win in their book.
Wow.
And if people didn't see this coming years ago, I'm sorry, that's on them. I have no sympathy for these people at all. It's going to happen to us one day on all of the platforms too. And guess what? I know it's fucking coming.
It's never stopped.
I'm not going to sit there and cry about it when it happens.
It's been whack-a-mole to find a place to do your thing before you get kicked out for a long time.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, and that's the way the landscape is going to be going forward, unless you're willing to play the game. If you're willing to play the game, you're going to have more options available to you as long as you don't get out of line. Get out of line, they're going to start narrowing your options again.
Well, that's been the thing the whole time. If you self-censor and you go along with whatever the current fucking narrative is, and you use code words or speak around shit like the fake people that are propped up for everybody in their algorithms, like the Russell Brands and the Jimmy Dores, the ones that are telling you the truth that you already knew fucking 6 months before they started talking about it. Um, it's like almost comical how that whole independent media scape has changed, because they were so over the top lying to you with the left wing media, the right wing media, whatever one you want to believe in. They lied so bad for the mainstream stuff that people started seeking independent sources, and these so brave people like Jimmy Dore and Russell Brand are getting those people tuned into a whole new fucking fake narrative.
No, I mean there's lots of fake narratives out there for people to tune into. Again, that was the whole purpose of erecting multiple echo chambers. Get people siloed into a very narrow ideological space, and once again, it's just like having them in formation. You can literally lead them around by the nose and make them do whatever the fuck you want them to do. Especially if what you want them to do is just be distracted all the time so that they don't ever actually accomplish anything.
That's the culture war.
Is that the point of the whole system?
Kind of seems that way. I don't know. You know what people say about me, though.
No, tell us, please. Nothing like a self roast.
People say a lot of things, Driz.
Oh, I know they do. I don't worry about it most of the time. I learned a long time ago that everybody's got an opinion about everything, and most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one.
That's right. And most of them stink.
Not mine, though. Mine are quite fragrant. No,
My penis
I've
smell like
heard
good
that
weed.
one before. It wasn't true then either.
You can't trick me. No, yeah, so like the some of the fallout is I did get a response from one of the
I
city
am
council
actually
members.
interested to hear what the people of the town think about all this. The ones that have contacted you.
Let me actually go in and I can read you some responses because it's actually quite funny.
Don't read any responses from people you treated medically.
Well, let's see. One of them I got was, apparently, okay. So there was one lady who has been quite vocal about me. She's been trying to discredit me and like antagonize me. She can't argue any points on merit because she I think she's an idiot. But she said, "Well, I wonder what Miss So and So has to say about the mayor now." She's like, some nerve. And then another lady said, "I hope he's removed from office." And she said, one lady said she just told her husband about my article that I posted today. And she's like, he is livid. He is very upset because apparently they've had run-ins with him, with the mayor too. And now that he's doing this to other people, they're just beside themselves. And let's see. This lady said,
that's exactly what I was looking for. This
lady says,
do we have enough yet to be able to establish patterns of behavior?
Right. And this one lady said okay, so there's two anonymous Facebook pages that have
Oh
been
my
posting stuff.
God.
One has been trying to discredit me, and the other anonymous Facebook page, the other one that is in the same boat with me that keeps getting trying to be discredited, and people are attacking this person. Um, I'm assuming it's a female. She goes by the Facebook page Jasper Jewel. This person said to me,
Karen,
what do we even seriously do we even need a mayor?
I'm cutting you off, Rob. You
And
can
it
be
was
respectful, or you can find the exit. All right.
I
and
said the woman was being said her name was Karen. Sorry.
Dude, we
if that's-
we left it behind like a good 20 minutes ago. So again, you
I
can
wasn't
either
talking about her. I was talking about the woman who was speaking at the council as Karen. Sorry that you can't take that as a fucking joke. Fuck you. Later.
so
Anyway.
To be fair, he did call you Karen earlier.
exactly.
okay. 'Cause
I don't know what the
kinda
hell
it
was up
sounded
his
like.
ass tonight, but
That's kind
it's
of what it
probably
sounded
better
like,
that he
but-
left.
So this one, the anonymous Facebook page, that the Jasper Jewel, she's saying, this is what's wrong with the town. One of them does something like this, and one of the others does something to smooth it over. Talking about one of the council members was kind of defending the mayor, saying, well, he talked to me earlier. He emailed me and said that he had spoken to the mayor about it, or the mayor had spoken to him about it. And he said, well, I don't think that the mayor was trying to be malicious in what he did. He just had a concern about his information. And I'm thinking, there is no concern about his this is not about his information. This is about me speaking publicly about him. And I emailed him back, but for some reason it kicked it back and said that I couldn't, it didn't go through, and it was rejected. And I'm like, did he block me? Surely not. But it said something about replying to emails or forwarding emails to that address is prohibited or something like that. I was just replying to the email. I wasn't
But
forwarding
yeah,
the
you
email.
could be on a
So-
a list that is disallowed.
Well, I don't know, because I emailed him. I emailed the council member, and then he emailed me back. He replied to my email, and then I went to reply back, and it kicked it back.
He probably
So-
he probably what it was is he probably replied from an account that can't receive. Like it, so you can do what's called email forwarding, where
Mhm.
I can give you an email address that you can send an email to, and I can reply to you from my personal email, but that email address that's not actually. No, I've got that backwards. I think I don't know how to do it. I have it set up
Yeah.
on a few different accounts, but there you can set up an email address so that it cannot receive income, or no, it cannot receive replies from emails that have been sent to it or sent from it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sent
Well, it's
from
it's just something to do with the structure of that network. Okay.
Yeah,
'Cause
however
it
it was
kind
that
of-
they set it up.
It kind of felt like he blocked me or something. So it's good to know that he did not.
No,
So,
I get that. I get that with
yeah.
like businesses all the time, where I go to reply to it, and it's like you can't reply to this email.
Yeah.
It's like what?
So anyway, he made it seem like, well, he did say that he was going to take his time and really dig into this. He was actually going to reach out to my boss and speak to them about it and get more information, because again, my information was somewhat limited, but I feel like I got the highlights of the interaction, and that's what I'm going with. And it's the thing is, in this line of work that I do, to insinuate that someone is violating private information, that in and of itself is a threat to that person's job. It doesn't matter who is providing this concern, quote unquote, or claim. To insinuate that someone is violating private information is to threaten this person. That is a threat, because it is something that we have to take continuing education credits courses on in privacy and jurisprudence and ethics and things of that nature every so
Anyone
often.
who works in the industry does.
Right.
It's
right.
what, every 2 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's drilled into our heads that we absolutely cannot just give out patient information. Now, stating a name is not violating HIPAA. That's not health information. That's a person's name, which is a publicly available name by and large. We have phone books. We used to have phone books. Your name was in the phone book. That's not personal
Here's the
private
truth
information.
about HIPAA, and as far as I know, it has been true since 1996. Basically, you can get people on a HIPAA violation for damn near about anything. Anything at all. Something as simple as saying a person's first name and last name. That can absolutely be a HIPAA violation because that's how fucked up the HIPAA legislation is.
Right.
It contradicts itself over and over and over again. And here's the thing. People that want to argue, well, this is what it says and this is what it doesn't say, they don't ever want to point out the fucking contradictions.
Right.
Well,
here's the other thing too. And in that same vein, when we go out to the lobby to call a patient's name, there's 20 other people in there, and we're saying their name.
That's right.
And we're calling
so
them.
you're violating a HIPAA by calling the patient to bring them back into the examination room.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. No, it's not. It's not a violation to say their name. It is not. And so anyway, like you said, it's a moot point. It doesn't even matter.
I mean, it's been a moot point from the beginning. Yeah. I don't understand why it was such, something that had to be fought for.
Right. I don't either. I just wanted to make the point that that's not what I'm trying to get. That's not the point I'm trying to get across. The point I'm trying to get across is he abused his capacity as mayor to get me in trouble, specifically to get me in trouble. And there's no way that you can explain this that would be defensible for him as a concern for his private information, because to even bring that up, you have to have proof. You need to have some kind of evidence that this concern or this thing, that it's a possibility, that it has happened. None of that. He had nothing that I have said in my posts, nothing I have stated online. Nothing has been private health information.
Right.
And so,
I'm actually interested to know, like, what's his whole what's he got going on with the Economic Development Board? Like, where exactly is the leverage in this whole situation? That's what I want to know.
They've hired an attorney to look at their dealings and everything. So we've got somebody that's looking into it. I don't know where they are exactly. I could ask one of the council members because they usually keep up with that sort of thing. And I can ask them. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I've been busy with a lot of other stuff. But I do know that they did, because they hired a guy. His name was Ross Fisher. He's an ethics attorney out of Austin. And they hired him to look into JEDCO. And then there was some back and forth with the council members and the attorney, and he was asking for his scope of work, and they were trying to decide how far back they wanted the investigation to go, because the longer you go back, the higher the bill is going to be. And so they were saying 5 years, I think, was the max amount of time they wanted him to go back and look. And he was reaching out to each of the council was kind of, they really weren't in sync with their scope of investigation. They actually did not get on the same page, and that's kind of their fault. They didn't agree first before they spoke to this guy. So he was reaching out, trying to get pointers and direction. And Mayor Land wrote him an email to the attorney, and he basically said, "I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to give you any instruction. I'm not going to answer any questions. If you have any questions, don't ask them to me." Basically was what the letter said. And after he did that, The attorney tendered his resignation and said, "I'm not doing this." The city council and the mayor are not in agreement as to what the scope of investigation needs to be, and I don't know what to do with the information that I've uncovered so far.
Well,
So
they didn't even give him any scope of investigation.
No.
They were just like, come in and look at our ethics.
Yeah, yeah.
That was
And
literally
yeah.
like what the exchange was, as far as I understood it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they didn't, and they dropped the ball on that one. And I think he would have been a really good one, but they did end up finding someone else to take his place. And I think they learned their lesson, and I think they're more in line and more in agreement with what they're doing. But from what I understand, the mayor is still obstructing every opportunity he gets, and he argues with them at all the time. He will not discuss anything. He just wants to argue, kind of like what happened tonight. He just wants to argue stupid points, and he wastes their time. A 1 hour meeting turned into a 3 hour meeting because he would not stop arguing with people. And so yeah, he's not the person that we need as mayor for sure. I mean, if we have to have one,
Right.
he's definitely not the one we need.
So if he is removed from office or prevented from getting reelected or whatever, right? He's a non-issue in the equation at some point in the near future. What is like? What are the available, people to step in and take his place? How do we know that they're going to be any better? It's the same question that we have whenever you remove a corrupt official.
Well, our remaining two options is it's rather funny actually. I really wish should I read his letter? Should I read his political statement for mayor? I don't. It's good reading.
Are you talking about Bo?
Link it to me in Discord, and I'll put it up on my cam.
Let me. Oh, this shit's funny.
I mean, the train wreck started like, what was it, 40 minutes ago or whatever?
We might as well do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, nobody's
This
listening.
is Fido's
anyway.
night. This is Fido's night, bro.
This is hilarious.
She needs to get this.
I got to get this off
The
my
Legend
chest.
of Billie Jean happening right now.
Let me see.
She's like Aaron Brockovich right now.
I got to get this off my chest. This is so freaking funny. And I don't want to be ugly. I really don't. But I'm just going to say this guy refuses to speak to me. And I'm going to put it in the chat.
You may have scared him.
I may have.
Look,
but
the average person, especially in America, going through our educational system and fucking meat grinder that we have set up in this country, the average person wants to avoid confrontation as much as possible. That's even true of the public officials. Right.
RBL, I put it in your Discord. It's there if you want to pop it up. So anyway, I had to reach out to him through an intermediary because I did not have a contact. I didn't have contact information for him. I couldn't find him on social media. I don't know if he has me blocked, but I sent a message to a lady who has his email address, and I asked her to contact him and ask him if he would let me ask him some questions regarding his political statement to get some clarification on some things. And he said, no, I'm good. And I didn't even ask why. I said, okay, that's fine. It's entirely his option. If he doesn't want to, I'll just do an open letter like I did for the mayor when he refused to answer my questions. And I'll let the citizens take care of it. Maybe somebody out there will be able to ask the questions and get the answers. If he doesn't want to talk to me, he doesn't have to. And then she responded back, he says it's because you are friends with his ex-wife. And I says, I don't know who that is. I do not know who his ex-wife is. And she says, I don't know. It's just what he said. I was like, okay, well, if that's what he thinks, then okay. I have no idea who he is talking about. So
Did you ever find out who his ex-wife is?
She said a name, but it did not. I didn't recognize it at all. I don't. I don't know that. I don't know anybody with that name. It was a unique name. I didn't. So I'm like, whatever. He doesn't want to talk to me. That's entirely his prerogative. I don't care. So yeah, this guy, Mr. Limbrick, says he's independent, not Republican or Democrat. He's a Christian, father of 16 children, man that chases the love of Jesus. Who is Bo Limbrick? He is alpha male super athlete. Alpha is misspelled. That has been with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes for 44 years plus. Honor roll student that resigned from college at 18 years old to come to Jasper to be with my grandfather, Mr. John Eddie Limbrick, because I grew up in the mountains of Altadena, California, without family members. Only family was my parents and my 3 siblings. I was always famous and popular in school from first grade to 12th grade in all sports. I broke records in everything I done. Moving forward, I lived in Jasper for 4 years. Then I relocated back to California to become a master engineer. My career lasted 32 years. I was the best engineer in scaffolding. I can build anything, anytime, any place, all over the United States of America. I've helped over 2.5 million individuals get hired and have amazing opportunities to make a nice income to provide for their families. I specialize in the following areas: power plants worldwide, refineries worldwide, Anheuser-Busch Brewery, Miller Brewery, offshore platforms, commercial buildings, Hoover Dam for the government, power plant in Hawaii, etc. I have never been late to work. I never missed a day of work. Jesus retired me
That's
in
actually
2000.
impressive if it's true.
I've had several health challenges. 2015, heart failure. 2019, alopecia, paralyzed internationally. I don't know what that means.
But you, wow.
Couldn't. Okay, and just bear with me because this is literally how it's written. Couldn't eat, drink, or swallow for 2.5 years. Got bit by 14 times by a copperhead here in Jasper at 806 Holly Lane. I've spent over $1 million in houses in Jasper.
Wait, how is that a qualification for being mayor?
I will answer that in just a moment. I pay taxes and I give unconditionally to all. I'm a loving person that wants to give back to my city, Jasper, Texas. All in all, I'm here to win the mayor's seat and change the narrative here in my city and give back unconditionally. I give Jesus all the glory. Bo Limbrick tells the story. If you need any information, please don't hesitate to call me. So
he needs better slogan writers. That was really bad.
I am the father of 16 children. I am a alpha male role model.
Really, I have so
Honor
many
roll
questions
student.
for this guy.
How
Like
many
really,
times,
I really.
How many times was he bitten by the copperhead?
He was bitten by a copperhead
14.
14 times.
14 times.
Yeah,
Take
806
that,
Harvey Lane.
Teddy Roosevelt.
I'm really struggling to.
Was he trying to fucking have sex with the copperhead? Why did he bite him 14 times?
That's a damn good question.
He was trying
you
to
should
fuck
ask
that
him that,
copperhead.
Fido. I'm sorry.
Well,
we keep
like I
talking
said,
over you.
it's all right. Well, like I said, I have so many questions. I would love to ask these questions. So I did write them all down, and I would like to share them with you. The questions that I have. I didn't want to be rude and exclude him from my questions.
Right.
Because I think all candidates should have an opportunity to express themselves and offer clarification. I would love to know what motivates him to run for city council. I want to know which of his accomplishments makes him feel that he is best qualified for the position as mayor. I'd like to know what is his biggest obstacle that he's had to overcome in his life. Based off that list, I would say it's
bitten by the copperhead 14 times. Yeah,
I would say the copperheads is the biggest obstacle because that's amazing. I'd like to know what it is that he loves most about Jasper, being that he's only lived here for 4 years of his entire adult life.
Right.
What does he believe is the biggest obstacle that prevents this town from improving?
Damn, whose house is that?
That's 806 Holly Lane in Jasper. That's where the copperhead lives that he tried to fuck.
Damn.
I don't think I've ever seen
I wonder
that
what
house
she
before.
looks like.
Dude, he wouldn't let her go.
I'd like to. Okay, so he stated that he could build anything, anytime, any place. I'd like to know more about his learning experience in building and construction.
Well, that's what
I'd
engineers
like to
do.
know what is his favorite part of learning how to build and what was his least favorite. What is one thing that he would like the people of the town to know and truly understand and about him? And also, what is the best way to get in contact? Because it says to call him, but he doesn't give a number and or an email
Oh, that's
address.
nice. That's
Those
You
are
know
my
nice.
what this
questions.
tells me? You know what that tells me? He was at this house doing like work for the family that owns it, and he lied and said he got bit by a copperhead 14 times to like get money from them. That's what I think. That's what I fucking think.
Well, I mean,
Changed my mind.
I read these political statements and then they put them out and they're like, well, this is it. It's like, well, no, there's more to it than that, I'm sure. And I would love to hear more detail because I like to hear details about a lot
Well,
of things.
yeah.
Because
I
this
mean,
is,
that's
it sounds like he's been through a lot. Really, it
right.
really does sound like he's lived 1,000 lifetimes in his 44 years. It's amazing.
Is that
He
is
has got
that
some
then
stories
what
to
makes
tell.
him fit for governance? Then I
He could
guess
not
That's a
eat,
really good question.
drink, or
because I
swallow
mean, here's
for
look. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Engineers are great,
2.5.
right? Our entire civilization was built primarily by engineers. Uh, we wouldn't have the internet without engineers, right? We wouldn't have Liberty
Right.
Radio without engineers, folks. Is what I'm
Absolutely.
trying to say. But here's the other thing. When it comes to government, that's great that you can build things. Do you understand the law? Do you understand how to run a business? Do you understand what to look out for when people are trying to scam you out of money? Because here's the thing. When you're in government, you're going to have access to taxpayer funds. You're going to be able to disperse those funds. That's a fancy word for saying paying out money that's been collected from the taxpayers. Does he have any experience doing that type of stuff? Is like any of that type of stuff included in there? Like where
Yeah.
he was doing like accounting, or maybe he was acting as a fiduciary for, I don't know,
Yeah.
an investment firm or something. He was an intern in a law firm.
I know. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But he has declined my interview, unfortunately, so I don't know that we will be able to get those answers. I hope so. I hope somebody asks him those questions. And I would say that I had hoped that he would have used a different
I
picture.
mean, he looks like an all right guy.
Um,
It's his pose
not
is
his
a
best
little
angle.
bit. Yeah. They could
Not
have
his
they could have
best angle.
chosen a different angle.
I think there could have been a
This
better
is from the
angle.
Department of Pettiness. All right.
Yeah. Oh. That one. That one. That's not. That's a troll. But they're pretty funny sometimes.
Bit
They're
by a
pretty funny.
copperhead 14 times.
Mm-hmm.
Paralyzed international,
Hey.
bro.
They troll. They troll the city of Jasper, and they posted one.
As well they
Says, why does
should.
it? They posted one that says, "Why does it smell like doo doo by the hospital?" Because the city had gone in and cleared a bunch of the trees and stuff and underbrush in a section of land right next to the hospital, and this was the barrier that was keeping the smell over by the wastewater treatment plant, which is near the hospital.
Oh,
And so
wow.
now that smell's coming through, and it smells like a sewer. And they went on there and said, "Why does it smell like doo doo at the hospital?" Like, y'all are wrong. Y'all know the city has problems with their sewer.
Say what?
But and when it rains and we get a certain amount of rainfall, it starts smelling like a sewer over by the hospital. Never
Oh,
fails.
that's fine. As long as it doesn't smell that way over here, that's fine.
As
Yeah.
soon
The
as I have
hospital
16,
can smell that way. That's fine.
As soon as I have 16 kids and get bit by 14 copperheads, I'm running for mayor.
There you go. Has he got
Well-
16 kids?
Yeah.
That's what he says.
Holy shit.
That's what he says.
Well, maybe he does know
So-
something about governance then.
That's a very lucky several women.
So, actually, what ended up happening today, my morning, I started out I actually did interview one of the gentlemen that's running for council. He's running for re-election, and he's running to keep his seat. And then there is another one who is running for mayor. We do have another gentleman who's running for mayor. His name is Clark McLean, and I spoke to him today, and he is, and he actually sounds like he has a head on his shoulders. He's new to the political stuff, so he's got a big learning curve. But my conversation with him, he's like, actually, let me give you I was just on that page, the political statement page for him. So let me send that to you, because he seems like an all right guy. Just talking with him, he just wants to do right by the town. And I asked him
how long
today,
has he lived here?
He's lived here. Let me see. Did I ask him that question? Oh, he says it in his statement. He's been. You got it up?
No, I can't find it.
Oh, it's right here. Let me send you the link real quick.
Sorry.
It's all right. There we go. So he's lived here actually quite a while. He's from this area. Graduated from high school from this area.
Oh, okay.
He has a degree in what was it he said? He's got a degree. He went to what's it? He worked in the petrochemical industry, and he's got an associate.
Texas.
He's got an associate degree in business management from Lamar University out in Beaumont, and he's worked all over this area. I think he's pretty much retired to this area, and let me go back to my notes, because I had a conversation with him and the councilman, but we're talking about the mayor. So he actually go ahead. What?
I'm reading this, and all I see is blah blah blah. I care about the town. Blah blah. How many fucking kids do you have, dude? How many copperheads bit you? Get to the fucking action. He's like, I've made it my practice all my life to be courtesy and respect. What about the snakes?
What about the snakes?
How many women have you impregnated?
He's not ever fought with snakes in the grass, I guess.
He doesn't look like a snake fighter. No. Other dude looked like he'd tangle with some snakes. That's for damn sure.
Well,
because I figured it was one of those weird churches.
It could be, man. I mean, we're in the South.
We're
basically Louisiana, although the people here would beat me if they heard me say that.
No, we got quite a few.
Some of them would. Some of them would.
We got some Louisiana transplants. It's all right. You're not offending people.
You're a Yankee, but you haven't dipped yourself in Mexico, so
I'm not a Yankee.
You got street cred. You're not a
Yankee.
Yankee.
Born in
from
Virginia,
the East?
Man.
That's a Yankee, isn't it?
It is not a Yankee state. That is below the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh, I mean, I'm just saying East Coast. Whatever. Well, I guess you're right. Because West Virginia
ain't a damn
was
Yankee.
The Yankee state. West Virginia was the one. Wait, hold on.
Y'all were secessionists.
These were the abolitionists who ended slavery.
The
West, by God. Virginians.
Apparently, RBL didn't have enough conflict. He wants some more. Yeah, I'll come at you, West Virginia boy. Come get some.
I'm gonna take my hat off to those men and women. And actually, like when dude was calling you a Karen earlier, I wanted to say this, and here's the sync where it ties back in, and I'm reminded. The women of the church did more to end slavery than any loudmouth man. They applied morals to their real life, their reality, and said slavery is wrong. They were the first abolitionist voices.
That's awesome.
Church Karens.
Church Karens.
Yeah. So.
Well, I
Preach
know.
on, sister. Get loud.
I actually know quite a few Karens, and none of them are actual Karens. It's kind of a misnomer. But no, this guy Clark, he actually, of all of the candidates that we have for mayor right now, he actually seems the most reasonable.
Yeah.
And he does have a motivation to bring business to Jasper, and and be a kind of like rehabilitate the image of our town, because we are still kind of known for some pretty bad stuff, and it's the actions of a few people that are idiots. And
I don't, honestly, I don't know that most of the country even remembers that
oh,
at
they
this
do,
point.
they
I
do.
had forgotten
There's
about
people
it.
that
I
do.
had completely.
There's people
I
that do.
remember it. I remember it when it happened. Again, because
Hmm.
I was living uh shit. Not too far away from my stepmother, who spent half of her life in Dallas.
Hmm.
And she's like, "Oh shit! Look at what happened in Jasper." And I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
yeah. I was in high school when that happened, and um, what's funny is um, I had to get some medical records from Oklahoma, and I called up there and I told them where it needed to be sent, and they were like, "Oh, it needs to go to Jasper." I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." She goes, "That's that town where they killed that guy." I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Can you please send the records?" Just send the
Well,
records. I don't need your
to be
commentary.
fair, you can say that about most places in the United States. So that's not
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that's unique
every
to
town is that
Jasper.
Well,
town where they
they
Yeah,
killed
took
that
it.
guy.
The media took it and ran with it
they
and just
did
played
because
it
they
up.
needed something at that particular
Some
moment.
They needed it, and everybody in this town is like, screw that guy, screw those guys. Nobody actually really supported them, and some people wanted to argue the point, but nobody actually. People were actually pretty upset that that happened in our town,
I would
and it
imagine.
was really sad. People were genuinely upset about it, and it didn't matter if you were black or white or brown or purple with polka dots. People were upset about it just simply because of how heinous it was.
Yeah.
And the week before, which nobody ever talks about, the week before that guy got killed, a bunch of black guys killed a white guy, but nobody ever talks about that one.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's all over. It's the same thing. It's in every town. It's, especially down here, you do tend to have more implicate, the light of, you know, race based crime, but you know, it's just the way people that are reporting it frame it. And they're definitely doing people a disservice by doing that, because that's not really what's going on. Um, but yeah, we're trying to the whole everybody's hoping that this town can get past that, and it doesn't help that we have idiots like the current mayor, um, you know throwing his weight around, thinking his shit don't stink, and thinking he's above the law and he's above ethics, and that they don't apply
Well,
to him. It's
yeah, that's
you know
how stuff like that happens in the first place.
yeah.
Especially when you have somebody like that providing the example for the community as the executive of the state. So
Yeah.
again, I think again, being a public figure, you need to be able to take criticism constructively, as opposed to taking everything personally and thinking that you need to
Well,
retaliate as a matter of
and
course.
really, I would say 99% of my stuff has just been basically questions and trying to rationalize what I know, what is publicly available information, trying to rationalize and figure out why this is the way it is, and I'm asking the questions, and I'm giving him every opportunity to provide clarification, provide to submit a public statement to the news outlet and say, well, these are the answers to your questions. I've sent him emails to ask him these questions that he could respond to me personally, that he doesn't have to give public statements about. I just want to know his perspective and his answers on these questions, and he doesn't want to answer them. And the fact that he can't provide an answer of any kind is about as incriminating as it gets. The man either he seriously can't, he's seriously that ignorant and cannot answer the questions, or he's hiding something. It's one of the two. Either he's incompetent or he's
Yeah.
manipulative
I
and
mean,
lying.
He's
it
fucking
could
with
be
his
both.
money.
Yeah, por qué no los dos? You know?
And
I think
neither one, but neither one is a good look.
I honestly
That's the
think
point.
that his rationale is because you are a county resident, he does not have to answer you.
He
You are
doesn't
not
owe
a
me an
constituent.
explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one of my my speculation.
Yeah, it doesn't
Is that
even
he doesn't
necessarily
think-
be that
he
he's
doesn't-
not answering you to hide anything. He's just thinking, well, shit, she lives in the county. I don't need to tell her a damn thing.
Motherfuckers don't answer you 7 out of 10 times anyway.
That's true. Yeah.
I've written lawmakers,
especially the
bullshit.
higher that they believe their status to be. Like
Yeah.
people will actually take any sort of communication, especially like people in the entertainment industry or people in government. You take an interview request, you send an interview request off to them. They're looking to see who the fuck you are, to see what level you're on as to whether or not they should even bother responding to you.
Right.
You know,
Well,
that's a known practice.
I sent an email to the county judge 2 months ago asking him questions about the sustainable aviation fuel facility that's going in the next county over, because this county was listed as having provided support for that endeavor. And I'm like, in what way did we provide support for that? Because that's in a different county. That has nothing to do with us. And so I reached out to the county judge who was on the commissioner's court, which is the entity that would provide support for something like that. And I haven't gotten an
Oh, there she went. But damn it.
I mean, she's talking that good stuff. They don't want to,
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess we'll have to
got her.
leave it there, ladies and gentlemen.
They got the control.
Yeah. We'll
Hey,
have
it's
to...
midnight.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. And she's back.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So I had sent the questions to the county judge to ask him, and he has never responded back to me. So now I'm going to have to find another way to reach out to him. I was thinking about calling the office and just clarifying with them that they did actually receive my. I know they got it, but
Oh, yeah.
maybe
Well, it never hurts
may
to
be
follow
lost.
up.
Well, and it may be lost in the shuffle. I don't know how busy his email inbox is. It's probably pretty busy, so he may have just overlooked it and just didn't get around to doing it. I don't know, but
Yeah, a little nudge every
Yeah.
now and then never hurts either.
And I was told it was recommended to me to try going to the commissioner's court meetings because they're open to the public. And I'm like, okay, well, let me look it up. So I looked up their meetings, and their meetings occur on Mondays at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to take off from work to go to that meeting because Mondays are the worst day possible for me to get anything done. Work is so crazy on Mondays, and 10 o'clock on Monday is the absolute worst time to have that kind of meeting.
Well,
I'd
that's
have to
why I
off
take
from work to
Mondays
do it.
off. Yeah. But we're going to have to leave it there for this evening. We might pick it up next Friday night. You never know. It was an adventure, as always. Thanks for tuning in,
Private Puller
everybody.
signing off.
All right. Have a good one, man. We're back on Tuesday night to play more of your requests. Get them in. Again, it's going to be the last week before spring break. Good night, everybody.